Hey, Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion here with Janelle Noel, one of our performance coaches slash amazing human beings. Today, we are going to walk through the quickest way to kill your cleaning company in three easy steps, and then we'll go three steps to fix it or what to do instead. So, I'm going to give you my number one. The biggest thing I see having coached owners of cleaning companies for a decade is making decisions based on emotion, not data. To be more specific, not being clear on what you want and then making decisions based on the emotion of the day and tying it neither to what you really want nor any sort of data that would indicate this is a good decision. Just, I'm frustrated with this and I don't want to feel that way anymore. So I'm going to do that. That'd be like me wanting to get to New York from Dallas and go, I got in a random train that took me to San Francisco, and then I got on a plane and ended up in Japan, and then I got in a rowboat and ended up in a smaller island. I've tried everything. There's no way to get to New York. So first and foremost, we're not clear on what we want. So even in my example, at least I knew I wanted to get to a certain city. That would be helpful, but I had no plan. So we start with not knowing or knowing what we want, but not tying our actions to it. So I talked to a lot of people going, when I started this, I wanted freedom for my family. I wanted to be able to be there for my kids' games. I wanted to have some financial freedom. I wanted to build something worth something. I'm like, cool, where are we at? And I work all the time. When I'm not working, I'm on the phone or I'm constantly on. Even if I'm not working, I'm just on. So I don't get to see my family. And I don't really have any money that I didn't have before. And I don't know if I could sell this thing for much because I constantly have to work just to make the money. And it's not because we're dumb, it's just because the business is urgent and will scream at us, do this, I want that, here's this. And we're like, oh my goodness, the business is yelling, I better go. Our babies, which are actual babies, train us when they cry, they need something. And it's good that we go take care of them. That's a healthy thing. Our businesses are not babies and they cry all the time. So we take some of the healthy behaviors towards our children, which are they're babies and they need everything. And it's a sacrificial relationship. And that was the whole point of it. To our business, which is not supposed to be a sacrificial relationship. It's not a baby. It doesn't need anything. It needs exactly what we want to give it or not. So long story short to wrap, because I'm dying to get Janelle's perspective, not being clear on what we want or committed to what we want. So we'll say, I want freedom, but then we'll do stuff like taking jobs that don't give us freedom. And then we wrap it in, I need to, or I can't, or whatever. But we never step back and go, why do I consistently have to take jobs that don't give me freedom? So we start with clarity on what we want. We allow the fires of the day to the urgencies of the day to consume us. We put out those fires and repeat without ever critically asking, is what I'm doing and the way I'm setting this thing up aligned with the result that I want? And then we just end up in a massive amount of pain. And then we break at that point, which is a very quick way to kill growth in your cleaning company and kill your own internal desire to own a cleaning company. All right, long rant, Janelle. I would love to hear your experience with our clients in that regard.
Yeah, the very first thing you said is have a goal. And it's critical, right? I always say if you're gonna have a nice day on a lake and you get in a boat and you just paddle around, you're gonna have a nice day. But if you know that you want to row across the lake and have lunch over there on that dock, then you have a plan and you actually row across the lake and have a nice lunch. Two great experiences, totally different outcomes, right? Not only does the goal have to be clear, time freedom, it has to be very specific. And this is one of the very first things that we see in our clients. I want time freedom. What does that mean? Right? Does time freedom mean? I want to, you start drilling down and, oh, I want to be able to work 20 hours a week. I don't want to work Saturdays and Sundays. And I want to take 2 weeks a year off on vacation. Got it. Now we have something to really aim at. Because somebody else's time freedom could be, I want the ability to, on a Tuesday afternoon, take off and go take my kids shopping. I want to be able to take a Friday off kind of on a whim, right? So time freedom even looks different. You got to be really specific. What does that lifestyle that you want to build look like exactly? Let's get really clear, right? Because being an entrepreneur, owning a business is a lifestyle choice. It is a lifestyle choice because you could go get a job and in a lot of cases it seems a lot easier. Right.
A
So
lot, it is easier.
we are doing this because there's bigger stakes. So get clear on what is it that we're aiming at? What do you want it to look like? What does that ideal lifestyle look like? So we can actually now figure out how to get you there. right? Because this, even goals are not one size fits all. Money. I want to make more money. What does that mean? Do you even know what you need? What's your minimum? We got to get really clear on what's the minimum we got to achieve before we can figure out what abundant or fruitful, hear those kinds of words. I want to have an abundant lifestyle. So you can't achieve something if you're not clear about what it is you're trying to achieve, right? So that's the very, very first thing. We got to get clear. And I even hear this waffling. We got to get really specific. I want more clients. Okay. Is that 2 clients this month? Is it 10 clients this month? Right? Get really clear, not more. More could mean more is one,
And
right?
I want to push back because I get that a lot. More clients or more revenue. I've had this conversation literally hundreds of times. Not one of the people say literally, and then they mean 7 times. Literally, probably over 1,000. I can literally say hundreds of times with owners of cleaning companies specifically. What's your goal? That's where we always start. Where are you at? Where do you want to be? What's holding you back? Let's figure out a plan to get there. That's every version of anything to change. Overwhelmingly, probably 80% more revenue. I want to double. There's some percentage or something that they want to grow. Great. And we'll talk and they'll give, and I want this and I want that in systems and I want a CRM and there's all this stuff and it's all tied to more revenue. And then I ask the same question every time. What's more important to you, revenue or profit? Oh, profit. Why would you even ask that? Like, because all you've talked about is revenue. What profit do you want? Oh, I don't know. Or they'll go some percentage of the revenue. But you just said you don't want the revenue, you want the profit. The right answer is, I would like this amount of savings, my child to go to this school, to own this house, to go on vacation. I would like these specific experiences or ability or security or whatever's important to you, and they cost this amount of money. Therefore, I would like this amount of money. We're just so stuck on, and I think it's this, I want to be, I'm doing the huge scare quotes here, rich. And they just think if I could just get to whatever they're rich, if they're at 1 million, it's 2. If they're at 500,000, it's 1 million. If they're at 20,000 a month, it's 40,000. If I just got there, I would be rich. And what they're really saying is, I don't want to do the work to think through, will I really be there? It's just so much easier to go. If I doubled my company, then for surely my financial problems would go away. And that is just not how it works. So when Janelle's going, even I want more clients, that's bad on 2 things. It's yeah, what is more? Is one more? Is 1,000 more? What is more? B, you don't want more clients. You want more profit. You want more impact. You want something else. And you think you're just doing a shortcut because it's a pain in the neck to really think through at a deep level what I actually want. What do I really want in terms of time and money freedom? How much time? What would I do with the time? How much money? What would I do with the money? Is what I'm doing aligned with that? And it sounds hard. It is, but it's so much easier than 20 years of gut wrenching work. You wake up going, I don't know where I wanted to get, but this ain't it.
So, yeah, it dovetails nicely into a concept that I am continually working with our clients on. Sometimes we have to slow down and do the hard work in order to speed up. It takes time, it takes willingness to dig in, it takes a focus, right? To really decide, like, no, what am I really doing this for? What's the real bottom line? And then if that's really the bottom line, how can I get there? What are my options? Because there's not necessarily one single bullet to get you there either, right? It's not often a real dream for the business. Hey, this is what I want my life to look like, which is
No,
why I
Janelle, I
have
want to
this
be
business
rich. I want
first.
financial freedom. I want rich and freedom. Okay. Just
What does
I
that
had to vouch
mean?
for our clients is what they would
Right.
say. I know what I want. I want $100 million business, They'll just have this big and they're doing $48,000 a month. Sorry, I'm getting
Yeah,
preached.
and I'm Mike, I'm going to ask you, so why? For what, right? For the sake of what? That, and you reach the 100,000 and your life is still heck, and your kids are mad at you, and you know you have a dog someplace, but you don't know its name because you're at your work too much. You're driving around. We got commercial business owners in there all day long. They're working on their business and then they get in their cars at 10 o'clock at night to go out and check on their jobs. They're never home. These
Crazy.
people are never home. They could have a dog and not know that they even have a dog, right? But gee, the business is making $250,000 a year. Great. Why? Why? Go get a job. It's easier. So but it takes time to get really clear about what it is that I want my life to look like, what's important to my life. Okay, this is the real key right here, right? If I understand what's what I'm doing this for, what I'm really aiming at, why it's important, then I can build the plan. I can figure out what this business needs to look like in order to get me there. Then, when I'm really clear on the why and it's really exciting and it's compelling, which is the really the entrepreneurial dream of why I'm doing this, then we can use the why when it gets hard because there's going to be hard parts. There's going to be things that you don't want to do. There's going to be things that maybe you're not doing now and you never really wanted to do, and you think, gosh, I don't want to do that piece. But we have to do that piece in order to really achieve the big why. So we got to do that foundational work, though, which is hard and slow, and it feels slow, right? In order to make all of this other stuff actually work, right?
Slow is smooth is fast.
Yes, exactly. And we have to be, again, then we get to actually build very clear goalposts for ourselves, right? So this is what I want to get in a year. And if that's what I want to get a year, this is what I'm going to do in the next 6 to 8 weeks, right? We work in small chunks, right? 6 to 8 week goals, but they're very clear. They're very, yes, I understand exactly what that is. I can point to data and say I'm on track or not. And then you also earlier in this mentioned you talked about the gut. My gut knows that this is what I'm aiming at. This is what I want. And I know that my gut tells me I'm not there yet. We got to actually have data, right? So often what happens is somebody says, you're telling me, gosh, I can't get to New York. I got to have data about what you've tried, first of all, right? So when you start mapping out, I got on a plane and I ended up in Japan and I got on that train and it took me to San Francisco. Okay, this is all data I can look at. But if you tell me I just can't get there, I'm like, what have you tried? I don't know. I
Or
wandered
I've tried
around.
everything.
I tried everything. Great. I don't know what that means, right? We can't, our gut is telling us it doesn't work, but we don't actually have facts. We're not operating from facts, right? So this is the facts, not fiction part of the story. We can't operate from fiction. We got to have clear goals, specific goals that we can measure, that anybody can look at the data and say, yep, you achieved it or you didn't. It's a clear yes or no, not a, I don't know. Yeah, I think I did that,
Yeah,
right?
I want to live a
And
life of abundance is debatable. I'd like to take $10,000 in American money from my business account and put it into my personal account every month and never stress about making payroll. That's something that's, it's not an opinion. Abundance, I'm living a life of abundance. Maybe you think you are, maybe I think you're not. Maybe Janelle thinks something different, but
yeah,
$10,000 moved from this account to that account and payroll was made with $5,000 left over, whatever it
yeah,
is. Janelle, there's no opinion. It's just that happened or didn't. So I just wanted to give an example because
yeah.
it was so important what you said.
Yeah, and then there's another piece when we have actual data. Oh, I tried that thing. I tried that marketing and it didn't work. Oh, okay. So let's look at the data. How much did you spend on that marketing? Or how many calls did you make? How many people did you go out and visit if you're a commercial, right? So let's look at the data of actually what you did working on that project. And most of the time, and I had this call yesterday with a client. Oh, she had a goal. She had a goal of I'm going to make these 30 calls in a week, right? We set it up 6 a day. She's, I did. You know what? I didn't do them all, but I did a lot of them. And then I was like, okay, so tell me exactly. Let's look at the data. How many?
Hold on, before you
Let
tell
me,
me, I'm
yeah,
going three. That's my guess based on you
five.
five. Okay, I
Five.
underestimated.
So she was like, no, let me count. I know I did a lot of them. Five. And then, oh,
And by the way, my guess remains at three. Her response, I'll take as five. I'm guessing the number's three.
so it was a gut check, right? It was a
Mm.
literal gut check for her because her head, so this is the thing when I talk mindset, I know my head is always going to try to keep me safe. My head is
As
always,
it defines safe.
as it defines safe, it's always going to keep me safe. And it's always going to try to make me feel. So if I'm doing something that, especially that I have a perception around, oh, this is hard, making those phone calls, right? She had a goal of 30. Her head's, no, you did fine. You did fine. That was really hard. You did so good.
Yeah,
Well,
the crazy thing is she wasn't lying to Janelle, or she was, but she was really lying to her. And then it was
yes.
just an outpouring to, so I think she was telling, I hate to say the word her truth. I hate that, but she was telling, she was giving you her perspective. I don't think she was trying to
Yeah,
deceive in the least. She just,
right.
she was as shocked at the fight when she made her count. Who was more shocked than you? Her by a lot.
By a lot. And that's why we operate in fact, right? We gotta, so she did she was able to do the count because she kept track. She did keep track, even though her head
That's
was like,
something.
no, no, girl, we're fine. You did so many. And then the reasonable part of her brain got to come in and look at the actual number and go, oh, five. Wow. Okay. I thought I did a lot more, right? So, real fact. Ah, I didn't get the results that I wanted from that plan that I created with Mike. Let's look at the data of what actually happened.
All right, so
Oh,
let's.
well,
I've got a bunch to cover. Running
yeah,
time, and I
yeah.
feel like this could have been this. We could do this as a podcast. So let me, for the 4% of you that are left of the initial 100% that started, because again, if we wanted to sell you something, good marketing would be some version of give me money and all these good things that you want will happen, and none of these bad things that you want will not happen. And then, God willing, they're somewhat honest. When you get in, they'll actually do the things that you need. So if you're here, great job on going, hey, I'm more committed to getting what I want, not hearing. And if you're caught yourself eye rolling, as I've done sometimes with, oh, that sounds like a big headache. It's like, got it. There's a reason everybody doesn't have $1 million company making $300, $300,000 in profit working from whatever. And by the way, anytime, it's funny, I learned this when I had salespeople before I was even coaching. Anytime a salesperson specifically, because that would be the most like, how many calls did you make? Like how many, whatever. As soon as they started with anything other than a number, it's bad. Hey, we committed to 100 calls, or you're going to follow up with these three people. I had a car dealership and we talked about the be back bus because, hey, there's 9 people that had come in and they're gone. How many did you talk, or what happened to that guy? Oh, he's coming back. Oh, he's going to be on the be back bus. And if we asked how many people actually were on the be back bus, all of them are going to come back. And then in reality, it was 0 to whatever. So yeah, anytime you're dealing with yourself or an employee and you ask a question, Janelle, we were supposed to meet at 8 o'clock today. I don't know. He may have passed. He was older at the time. You had to call out how many sales you had, and there's 30, 40 of us. And he was way in the back and he goes, what you got, Bill? And he goes, nothing but hope, sir. And I was like, at least he started with the number, the nothing. And then he gave the drama of the but hope. That was 30 years ago. I still love it. Okay. So to wrap this first part, and we went deep here and we can go pretty quickly through the rest. If you have a clear goal tied to an outcome, so not I want to be rich, I want $1 million company, because $1 million company is not an outcome. It is what we think will get us the real outcome. So we don't want $1 million company. They're quite frankly a pain in the butt to own. We want to feel successful. We want to look good in front of our people. We want a certain amount of money. We want an amount of financial security. And those can all be distilled down into the thing that we really want. Same thing. I want more clients. No, you don't. Clients are a pain in the neck. You want this other result and you're just doing the math. I want more systems in my business. No, you don't. You would like to feel in control. You would like to be in control and work when you want to work and work on what you want to work. Let's get to the thing. So that's step one. We have to be clear on what we want. We have to be committed to that. And that's where what Janelle was saying about the why, right? Because it will get hard, just like Janelle said, if there's any goal that's worth achieving, there will be hard points. And if it's just, that's why I always want $1 million business, doesn't work because it's hard to build $1 million business. So we have these conversations and go, here's what you have to do. You start going, oh, you're like the lady I was texting with or messaging. Oh, that sounds like a pain in the neck. So she didn't really want more clients because it didn't mean anything to her. But had we been able to have a conversation, maybe I've got a kid that's special needs and he's got medicine that could make his life better. And it's $1,500 a month. And right now I'm making $5,000 and I can't afford it. If I made 8, I could. How much will she do to make that happen? So step one, we've got to have real clarity on what we want. Just like Janelle said, there has to be a why. And I was an eye roller at the time too. And then you don't get the thing. And then we need to know where we are now in relation to that, right? So if I'm clear, I want to get to San Francisco and I know why that's important. My girlfriend's there, or my fiance, and I'm madly in love, or my wife, and I wouldn't, that's very different than I'd like to just be in San Francisco. We need to know where we are now. I'm currently in Dallas. If I don't know that, I can't get it. So in our business, I'd like this amount of profit or this amount of hours or this. Great. What's our profit now? Often, most people know their revenue. don't know their profit. I take a salary of this, but, or my least favorite, I take out the money that I need. How much is that? Couldn't tell you. So I'd like to get to San Francisco where I'd like to make this amount of money. How much are you making now? I don't know. But how on God's green earth do we know what we got to do? So that's the first piece. So that's the first, as promised at the beginning, the top 3 ways to kill your cleaning company are making decisions without data based on emotion, as opposed to data-based, goal-driven decisions. So we spent a lot of time there. The rest will go very quickly. So doing more, the second way to kill is, and these are the second and third way, are natural outcomes from not doing number one. So if you do number one, number two and number three probably aren't going to happen. Doing more of the same, hoping for different. I've been stuck at $50,000 a month in revenue for 2 years, and I'm just, it's going to fix because it has to. Or my second favorite, I'll just work harder, right? I've been climbing this ladder that happens to be leaned against the wrong wall for 2 years. It ain't got me anywhere. If I go faster, that will get me there. So second way to kill your business is, or kill your growth certainly, is doing more of the same thing, hoping for something different without the realization. And we judge ourselves. I know my systems suck and I suck. And then we go to, I just need to work harder. No, you don't. Again, working harder on the wrong thing is going to get you further in the wrong direction. It's just giving yourself permission to go, let's say I've got a business doing $50,000 a month. Say I'm taking $8,000 a month home, but I'm working 60 hours a week and I've been stuck. I can beat myself up and judge myself and go, you suck and you're dumb. And my wife's mad at me because I'm never there. And I don't know, I had a dog, didn't know his name. I don't know why that tickled me so much, but it did. Instead of beating myself up, again, just go to the analytics on the data side and go, there was a time when I started this, I would have killed to make $8,000 a month, not having to work for anybody else. I don't think I would have loved the 50 or 60 hours a week, but I would have done it if that was the cost. And just being stuck there for 8 years or 5 years, that I wouldn't have done. So we're just going to be clear and go that if my goal was to make $8,000 a month, working 50 hours a week, which many people on this earth, probably more than probably the majority, would take that deal, and especially if they're not working in a mine or doing anything dangerous, would take that in a heartbeat and go, if that was your goal, you did great. And again, that's why if you don't have a clear goal, we just kind of wander and show up here and go, oh, I didn't think this is what I wanted, but because we didn't have that conversation with ourselves. So the reason we get there is we blame ourselves as opposed to going in the systems. My systems suck. They're bad. They're not bad. They're great systems to get you to $50,000 a month, making 50 hours a week or working 50 hours a week. But if you want to get to 80,000 working 20 and move your profit from 8,000 to 15,000, you just need a different system. And when you get there, you might be unhappy and go, I need more. Great. We don't have to beat ourselves up. Just the realization we don't make when we work harder, thinking we'll do more of the same, is we don't step back and go, the system that got me here was appropriate to get me here. What we feed our infant 9-month-old is not what we feed our 10-year-old, which is not what we feed a 70-year-old person. And it's not that breast milk is bad or good. It's just who's the recipient? What's the age? What's going on? What's the needs of that person? So step 2 is doing more of the same, expecting something different, i.e., hoping the systems that got me here will get me there. And instead of cold bloodedly or cold heartedly just looking at the system, go, I just need a new system, beating yourself and going, work harder. Thoughts, feedback before we get to the third step?
No, we see this all the time, right? If I just work harder, work more hours. We did this. If I dig this hole deeper, you're still in the hole.
Here's some bonus content. The 2A before we get to 3 is minimizing the problem. This is what kills me. I'll get people that'll just vacillate back and forth. I don't know if it's because they feel guilty, like being honest with themselves or with me, but they'll say things like, everything's great. I'm making $8,000 a month. I'm paying all my bills, whatever. And we get into it. I have a dog. I don't know its name. My wife's whatever. I haven't worked out in 3 years, and that used to be a big part of my life, or whatever the case is. And then they almost get too scared because we can't walk around in the truth that we have. We'd be debilitated. So we have, just like Janelle said, your brain will protect you. It's okay. It's not that bad. You're doing fine. But that also will protect you from any change, right? And then they'll swing back to, I guess it's okay. It's no big deal. And I have to just go, which is it, Janelle? I'm not here to bully you into doing something you don't want to do. If this is a real problem, let's treat it like a real problem, right? And if it's not, then let's not worry about it. I've got cancer or whatever the case may be, but it's no big deal. Is it? If it is a big deal, just saying it's no big deal is a great way to succumb and to go, it is a big deal and it's not going to overcome me and I'm not going to be debilitated by this looming thing, but it's a big deal. and it's going to take big action. And I'm good for me. I've got big action. So let's get to it, as opposed to that vacillating between, I made 3 calls, but it's not that bad. And here's why, and blah, blah, blah. I said I do 30. I did 3. Ungot dang acceptable. If I want to get my goal, I got to do 30. I probably should have done 50. My bad. Here's what I need to do to fix it. Cool. Let's do it. But when we start minimizing, things get off the rails quick. Sorry, that was a little
Yeah.
bonus. I'll give number 3, and then you can add to the bonus or number 3.
Yeah.
Number 3, and I'm stealing this wholesale from Alex Hormozy, so I want to give credit. He just said it so much. Should I think of a way I would say it? I'm like, nope, that's the best way to say it. I'm just going to say his words instead of and give him credit as opposed to try and change it. Stop chasing the silver bullet and just realize it's 100 golden BBs. There's never was a silver bullet. Marketing has taught us, give me money, I will give you the silver bullet. If that was the case, everybody would be rich, period. But I'll just give some examples of silver bullets we may chase, and then I'll let Janelle get onto this, and then we'll get to the 3 steps to do this right. So if I just had the perfect training manual, then my business would be right. And again, not tied to data, not tied to a real goal, just a gut feeling. I'm unhappy and I work too hard and I'm disorganized and it feels like chaos without really thinking through why and what and how, which is the hard work. We go, owner employee manual, handbook, training manual, that will fix everything. If I just have, again, more customers is the easy one. I'm doing $500,000 and I'm not making any money and I'm working 100 hours a week. You know what'll solve it? Doing $1 million. And so you're working 80 hours a week now. You're going to work 160. And by the way, going from 1 to 2 isn't twice as hard. It's exponentially harder. So you're going to go from 80 hours a week to 300. And they know in their gut it won't work, but it's just, I'm so tired. I can't even think about it. So if I just had, and I'll fill in the blanks, perfect training manual, more customers, more time, if I was better organized, if I just had another one of me, if I had one good manager, none of these are good. We want to simplify it down. And this is a version of 2A, right? The simplifying it, making it easier, right? I want to tell myself, because and it's weird because it's like there's 100 golden BBs and it's overwhelming. It's, yeah, but what if you just got 2 or 3 BBs every 6 to 8 weeks? And maybe it did take 2 or 3 years, but in 2 or 3 years, you had real change that was trackable and definitive and tied to data and whatever. It's no, I just want the silver bullet that tells me everything's gonna be great in 6 weeks. Just to sum
Yeah.
up the 3, and then I'm gonna let Janelle speak as she feels fit, making decisions on emotion instead of data and not being tied to your goal, just tied to some loose version. I want to feel a certain way, and I think money or this will get me there. 2, doing the same and hoping for different. I'll just keep the system that got me here will get me there. And then 3, chasing the silver bullet as opposed to just acknowledging there is no silver bullet. There's dozens or hundreds of golden BBs, and that'll just be that. All right, give your perspective working with clients
Yeah.
on kind of these 3 things and how you see it playing out.
Yeah, a business is an ecosystem, right? It's more than one part. It's like a car, right? So you're right. You're driving around in your teens, you're driving a beat up 30-year-old Volvo, my first car. And that
1967 Mercury Cougar.
okay, cool. So that's fine. It gets you where you want to go. But that's
Most
not the
days.
car. Yeah, most days, and it has some problems, right? We want to upgrade, and that first 30-year-old car is not going to get us where we want to go to the next stage in life. We got to upgrade the car. If my 30-year-old Volvo is now just really slow, I have to look at a lot of different systems. Does it have oil? Are the tires inflated, right? We're looking at a lot of different pieces and parts to get that car optimal. And then when we upgrade to the next car, it has new systems and pieces and parts. So it's not enough to think, gosh, if I just buy this jalopy, a great new set of Pirelli tires, I'm going to have a Formula One race car. No, it doesn't really work that way. We got
As
to look
optimized
at,
as this car is ever going to get, it's never
yeah,
going to have airbags. It's never going to be reliable. It's never going to be. So yeah, if you want a different and then you could just beat the crap out of you, Volvo, you piece of garbage, you would, and it's fine. Or you dummy, how dare you buy this? Or we could just get at it and go, that was a great car to get me here. And God willing, we'll sell it. And it'll be a great car to get the next guy where he needs to go. But we want something different or we need something different. And then instead, yeah, again, we can air pressure, oil change, gap the plug. We can do all the things to that volt. It's still going to be that thing as opposed to just going, that was a good thing to get me here, but I want to go there. Or God
yeah.
forbid, we're on a train and we want to go to Tokyo and we get to San Francisco. A better train is not going to get that done. It's time for a plane, friend. That's just maybe a boat, but the train ain't going to do it.
And so, yeah, looking at there is no one single thing that is going to get this business to that next level, right? We necessarily have to upgrade. And that is a whole lot of different pieces and parts. They're all interconnected. And that's, again, that's like we like to carve it up into smaller projects. Let's take care of this little piece here, and then we're going to upgrade that next piece over there, and then we're going to upgrade that next piece. And pretty soon, before you know it, you're in a whole new vehicle. You're in a whole new business,
Yeah, we got a
right?
Franken business here where
Yeah,
we got this thing
yeah.
from this and this from that. And yeah, last thing on the cars, and we'll move on to the solutions to all this or how to be effective. When I had a car dealership, we'd have people come in. It was really sad. They would have taken their bone stock, whatever, and done all sorts of crazy crap. We did this and a stereo system and this and crazy wheels. And they're like, I put 10 grand into this thing. I'm like, it's worth about 60% of what it would be if it was just normal. And they're just devastated because they didn't, again, maybe it's suited to their purpose or more likely what happened. They Frankensteined it and went, when I'm really just driving every day, I don't want all of these things. So I'll sell it. And then it's nobody else wants these things. And we do that thing with our business where it's like, I need more revenue. So I'll add contracting or painting or this, or I'll hire this, or I'll just whatever kooky thing that we're doing. And it feels good, right? If you need a new car and you get a new car and saving up and doing might take 6 months or a year or whatever it is, it's more fun to just throw a new stereo into this thing or do a paint job. And then it's not what's best for the car, even what we're trying to get. It's just what scratches our itch. I'll give a dumb story just so you guys know how crazy I am. Look it up if you want. Saturn View. It's like a little two-door. They don't even make Saturns anymore. Two-door convertible thing. I saw it at auction. Usually I had someone else go to auction. This is pay people to do good jobs and don't try and do your own job, but it was sometimes fun to go to auction. Green, beautiful, bought it, was super excited about it, had a nice wheel. Everything about it was great. Got it back to the dealership, went to open the door. Some knucklehead had put Lambo doors on it, so they opened up as opposed to out. And I was like, oh my God. One of the things in the car business is there's a butt for every seat. I'm like, oh boy, I gotta find this butt. And I'm like, this thing is gonna be here forever. It, by the grace of God, it sold quickly and for full price, or not for full price, but it was fine. We did fine, but I just got lucky that butt came up. Some kid saw it, went, oh my gosh, Lambo doors, this is amazing. But I probably could have had 20 people look at it, and God willing, there would have been one that went Lambo doors. This is amazing. And they were done well. I'm sure whoever did it spent lots of money on it. But again, they wanted a Lamborghini. They couldn't afford a Lamborghini. And like, this is what I'll do. And they ended up just Frankencarring their poor Saturn View. And if you are the owner of that View enjoying it, God bless. I hope it's great. If you ever try to sell it, let me know how it worked out. All right, enough of that. Let's hit what to do differently now that we've abused on the ways to fail. Let's talk about how to grow and actually feel good. And it's one of those things where I know some of the stuff that we talked about can feel a little scary or overwhelming at the beginning, but it's one of those things where people will see what we do to start a business and go, I could never do that. I don't know. I remember when I got my only job as an adult selling cars, I went explaining to my friends who were all making $3 an hour or whatever. I'm old. This minimum wage is $4 or $2, or if you were servers, like 213, I don't know, whatever. They were making nothing, a couple $100 a week. If I do this and you get this, and I've got guys making 60, 70 grand. Everyone have asked me the same thing. What happens if you don't sell any cars? And I go, I think they fire you and you don't get paid. Maybe you get minimum wage. I don't know. And they go, I could never do that. And I remember thinking, I could never do what you're doing. I had waited tables or done whatever job a dumb 18-year-old could get for a year or two. And I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. And I think what they were really saying is that just sounds scary and I'd rather have the pain of that. If you look at what we're talking about, go, I can't do that. It's like, well, if the choice is going to work the way you're going now for another week or 2 weeks, or do the things that we're talking about, the obvious answer is correct, is to just keep doing what you're doing. It's much less painful. But God forbid you're going to own this business for more than 3, 6, 9 months. God forbid years, the painful all of a sudden changes. So that's where this comes in. Here's what we need to do to grow the cleaning company. Number one, opposite of our first number one, get clear on what you want and why it's important, and commit to different scary things, even if they don't work. Our biggest heartbreaker I see in cleaning company owners, and I'd love to hear what, if you run into this, Janelle, is people that I need to think about it. I'm not sure. I get it, whatever. So if we're talking, they finally got clear on what was wrong and why it's so important to change and how they can't live like this. And we offer a solution and they go, I don't know, it's just too scary. And I'm like, it's too scary what you've described is terrifying to me. And they're like, again, more of the same. What got me here was not sure. I'll try different things. I won't really stop and think, and I'll just let life, because with, and if they really were going to think about it and like go home and do some work and whatever, God bless, do that. But they don't. What they really mean is, this is a hard conversation. I'd like not to have it anymore. I just want things to magically be better without me having to do any hard things. And by think about it means I'm going to go just like every other thing. Like you could be listening to this podcast and go, this is great, I'm going to do the work. And then you just think about it and go do nothing. It's heartbreaking. So number one, get clear on what you want. That's why the why is so important. And commit to go, I'm going to do the things, even if it's scary, even if there's a chance it doesn't work. I can almost guarantee if you keep doing what you've been doing, I don't even want to say you'll keep getting what you've been getting. It typically slowly degrades because our ability to do the same thing and bang our head against the wall degrades over time. So best case, you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll keep getting what you've been getting. Most likely case, it'll get a lot worse. I guess 1 in a million wins the lottery and somehow you just keep doing what you're doing and it actually works out. But that's like people going, my retirement plan is to buy a lottery ticket once a month until I retire. Yeah. And you can, we can give math and logic and they go, but I know a guy or I saw a guy on TV. Be that as it may. So step one, get clear on what you want, why it's important, and commit to do scary things. And I would even, not I would, what I've done and what I've seen successful people do both in my coaching and my life, just on TV, whatever the case may be, is successful people are very decisive. They make decisions quickly. They're slow to go back on them. And if it doesn't get them the result that they want, they fix it with another decision. So I would move from the fear base, which is going to keep you stuck no matter what, of if I do that, it might go wrong, to if I don't do anything, it's definitely going to go wrong. I would rather make a decision. Worst case, you get information. I didn't do that. Or you have the opportunity to get information, right? You do it. You could just be like, that sucks. That marketing, I did Facebook and Zuckerberg scammed me out of $1,000. If no, you invested $1,000. You wanted X result. You actually just got data, which you could choose to throw in the garbage and not use, or you could learn something from it. So number one, get clear on what you want. Get clear on why you want it, because that's going to allow you to do the third piece of number one, which is commit to doing it, even if it's scary, even if there's risk, and just know the ultimate risk is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. That is almost guaranteed for failure. I'd rather at least go down swinging. I'd rather try something that failed than not even take a swing. All right. I feel like I'm so preachy today, Janelle.
We definitely have a topic here that is close to your heart. Yeah, and it's all of that. I have nothing to, you gotta know what you're aiming at and be willing to commit to it. And then of course have the data to see why, right? Oh, it failed. Why? Okay.
Oh,
Now I get to make
you're
the
encroaching it.
decision.
Let me hit number two because you're
Yeah.
wandering right into it. So number two is once you're clear on what you want, you're committed to it, even not even when, especially when it's going to require you to do hard things. Thing about change is it requires change. That whole like, I'd like a very different life, but I'd like to do very few things differently. Yeah, me too. But here we go. So clarity on what you want, clarity on why that's important, which will give you the ammunition to commit to do it when it's scary, because it shall be. That's one. Number two, which Janelle was just jumping into, is find a system to follow. And I'm going to give you some specifics that tend to work. There's a couple non-negotiables and there's a couple negotiables. The non-negotiables that I would have if I was going to do something different, because it is scary. We talked about it's going to be scary. So if I'm going to put my chips, and it could be the investment to buy the marketing, the coaching, the piece of equipment, the whatever the case it is, but it's also the trust of your business, my baby, right? He's going to tell me to raise prices, or if I do marketing, I might have to offer a money back guarantee that risks this, or if I buy this equipment, it could break, or fill in your own risk blank. But the non-negotiables are find many proven results for people like you. So I'll just use coaching because I know that best, and that's what we're doing here. So one, worst case, they've at least done it. That's minimum standard. Second, they've done it for someone else. That's one of the harsh realities I learned 10 years ago when I got into coaching. I knew how to do it. I really did. And I was passionate about my clients and wanted to tell them how to do it. And I did. Shockingly, that didn't just magically make them do it. Hence Janelle and Suzanne being here to help make that transition. Of Mike yelled at me and I don't seem to be doing that. Maybe I'm smarter and I feel crappy, but nothing's changed. So the person that's got where you want to be next, by the way, not the person that you want to be. Most of the time, we want the big results, the guy that's done the big thing. But again, going from 10 million to 50 million is very different than 50 to 100, which is very different than going from zero to 100,000. So find the guy or gal that's a couple steps ahead of you, ideally, or if he's way ahead of you, he was only a couple steps ahead of you recently, right? If it's like, I'm 60 now, and I remember starting my first business when I was 20, let me tell you how to do that. I'm like, let me find someone that's doing that now or done it recently. So they've done it. Ideally, they've done it multiple times. Even better, they've taught someone to do it. Ideally, they've taught someone multiple times. So for me, that would be non-negotiable. Second is trust. Say everything I'm saying makes sense and it's perfect, and we've got hundreds of success stories, and you're just like, I don't like that guy. You just have to have some degree of I like and trust you. Non-negotiable. This third one is semi-negotiable, tracking, especially when it comes to business. If they're like, you'll get better results, and it'll all just be feeling great. But no, we don't need a P&L. We don't need to define what results are. We don't need to track what your actual revenue, your actual profit, what you actually spend on marketing. So tracking, I'm putting in the first category, non-negotiable. Many proven results for other people. You like and trust them. And there's some sort of tracking in business. If you're getting a coach for something else, I can't vouch. The negotiables, some sort of accountability, much better. Some people can get through without that. Just tell me what to do and I'll go do it. Rare breed. I'm not included in that. I need accountability. Community is huge. Just that I've got other, because Janelle and I can scream, if you do this, you'll get that. Maybe you're like, I like them, I trust them, my head gets it. I get it. I'm just terrified out of my mind. I'm not going to do anything. But if you're in a community of 40 other people that are in various stages of I've done that and I got that same result, you can argue with me and Janelle that we're full of crap, but it's hard to argue with just person after person that's in your same thing. So community is a huge thing both ways, by the way. You get the bad community, you're going to want to step back. You're going to need to step back from that to be able to have success. If everyone around you is telling you you're stupid, you can't do it, it doesn't work, I could never do that, it's too risky, that's equally unhelpful as it is helpful to have a community. I've done that. And maybe 10% of the time, Janelle will go, oh, geez, now that I know that, you're right. Basic training doesn't apply to you. Here's how we need to fix it. Even if 90% of the time she smiles and nods and go, yep, do exactly what I would have told you to do anyway. I just know she heard and she cares about me and I can trust her. So that's it. Get clear on what you want. Find a system that includes lots of proven results. You trust and like the person, ideally tracking, accountability, community support. And here comes the hard part. Follow that system. Not if, when you fall down. My favorite clients are the ones that don't get too high and don't get too low, right? Like we tell them to do something and we tell them some things get pretty quick results and those are fun. And some things get quick results and overwhelmingly good, but every now and again it gets worse before it gets better. And then some of them take 2 or 3 months, like just depending on what it is. And we tell them it's going to take 2 or 3 months. So there's a small chance it gets worse before it gets better. And then the thing happens and they freak out. It's fine. It just, they're putting themselves through so much pain. The magic comes when they get back up and go, I'm freaking out, blah, blah, blah. We talk. And now let's get back to it. That's a win. I fail and I ghost and wander away and just tell myself in my mind, I knew it wouldn't work or whatever. That's just disastrous because now you're reinforcing, I got help, I did something different and it didn't work. And now there's another thing on your I've tried everything box and more data for you to give up. So that so important when you, and again, check to make sure. That's why I was so specific on the system, because if you find a scam that there's no proven results, you don't trust the guy, there's no tracking, there's no accountability, there's no one-on-one support, there's no community, and you fail, you might look at the system and go, maybe I've picked the wrong system. No problem, I'll pick a better system. But if the system has those components and you failed, get back up and trust the system, right? Like other people have gotten the results. You trust the guy. There's accountability. There's a community. There's dozens of results before you. So if that's the case, this is the pivot moment. Is signing up for something new is hard. Investing yourself is hard. Trying something new is hard. The hardest part, the like night of the soul where it really makes a distinction, is when you fail, how do you respond? So that's the biggest one. And that's it. Repeat. It's just that difficult process over and over. And you think you'll get better at it, and you do. Problem is, the bigger your business gets, the harder the fails are. So you're like, oh, I can fail like I did before. No problem. I sleep. But oh, yeah, now you have to fail bigger. Oh, that's too scary. I'm like, I know. And when that becomes comfortable, guess what? There's a scarier fail above that. And it goes infinitely to the best of my knowledge. All right. That's everything I have to say on that, Janelle. I feel like I've overtalked. I'm going to let you, now that we've got all the cards on the table, share anything that.
Hey, honestly, Mike, it comes down to get clear on what you want to do, get a plan, go do the plan, go do the thing, right? And get support to help you do the thing, because often when we're left to our own heads and devices, we can't talk ourselves out of a box we've built around ourselves, right? So go do the thing.
I think I could just put that at the beginning. We skip this whole podcast. Just put Janelle's last. 14 seconds right at the beginning. Be like, go do that. All right. I will leave you this parting thought, Cleaning Nation. If you are in a spot thinking, am I actually stuck based on data? And if we feel stuck, quantify what the stuck means. So that's it. Use the data to decide if you get what you want. If you've been stuck for a while, only wrong answers to keep doing what you've been doing and hope for something different. Many right answers. I think coaching would be wildly helpful as long as they've got proven results. You trust them, you like them, there's tracking, there's accountability, all that good stuff. Take an action right now. Feel free to share. I'm Mike at growmycleaningcompany.com. Feel free to shoot me an email or put in the comments what you tried. All right, Cleaning Nation, thank you for putting up with a long podcast. Hopefully it's helpful. Appreciate you. Reach out anytime. Talk soon. See you.